All right, we're tying the Pale Morning Dun, or PMD for short. This is a quick and easy fly to tie. You can knock out a ton of these in one sitting, and they're really good at catching fish. This is some 6/0 white flat wax nylon thread, and it's really easy to lay down. You're gonna start from the hook eye side, working your way down about 1/4 of the hook back to the middle. And this is some light olive dubbing, and I use a little bit of spit on my fingers to get it to stick. And you're gonna wind this onto the thread to build a little bit of a base for this fly. And I always start from the top, working my way down. It takes a few different wraps to really get it to stick to the thread. Once you get it to stick, you'll begin to build a simple base on this hook, working again, filling over that thread base you built. And this is just building another base for the fly itself to hold itself onto and build a bit of that taper, again going from the hook eye all the way back to the shank. This is some widow's web. It's a light brown color, and this is gonna serve for both the tail and the wings. So right where you left that thread, you're gonna start with some pinch knots and begin to lay this down, making a joint right again about a quarter way down of the hook back from the eye. And this joint is gonna make the separation between the wing and the tail. Some attaching loops. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you have enjoyed tying maybe this last season, and maybe some tips and tricks for this fly itself. You're gonna take that head part and wind it in a clockwise motion, building the base for this wing. And so a few of these wraps, you want it to stick up probably about the same length of the hook sticking up, so you have enough to work with. And once you're happy with it, with a few pinch knots, you're gonna go ahead and attach this to the head of that hook, tying it nice and tight. This is a size 12 hook. You can tie this fly anywhere from a 10 to an 18, depending on how skilled you are with those smaller pieces, but I figured 12 was a pretty good base for this particular fly. Once you're happy with that front part, you'll cut off the top of that piece and wrap this all the way down, sticking it again behind that eye and working your thread back on both sides of the wing, getting that to stand up. And once you're happy with it, beginning to take the thread back towards the tail. Once you begin to build that thread wrap back towards the tail, there's too much material here to actually have the tail be how it's supposed to be. So take about 1/4 of it, trim it off, and give it a few wraps. And this is gonna help with that taper going from the front of the fly back to the back. So a few wraps, again, maybe another 1/4 of this, snipping it off and continuing that taper, working your way back. Once you get that thread back to the back of the fly, you're gonna take that tail and spread it out. It's gonna spring back, and about 1 full hook's length behind it, you'll cut it. You'll see how it kind of springs back towards the hook to finish that correct size for the tail itself. A few more finishing wraps back there, and then you're gonna grab some more of that light olive dubbing or whatever color you're choosing to use, and about 3 inches of dubbing on this particular thread, working again from the top all the way to the bottom, winding it on tight. I had to go back 2 or 3 times to really get this to stick. This isn't super fine dubbing. If you had some super fine dubbing, it probably would stick a little bit better. But once you get it all the way on there from the top to the bottom, you're gonna begin to build this fly base from the tail all the way back to the head, now covering it in that dubbing, following that tapered pattern you've built over the last few minutes. Once you're happy with the wrap, you can begin to wrap this around the fly. And the good thing about this dubbing is that you don't have to be entirely perfect. If you miss a spot, you can go back over it, and it is pretty forgiving dubbing on this particular fly because it is meant to replicate a little bit of a poofier body. So I'm going about a half overlap wrap on each go around to try to give some pretty good coverage, working my way back from that tail all the way back towards the wing. And then once you get to the wing, you're gonna go on both sides of it to really cover in that junction point with this dubbing. Tucking it in right behind the eye, working your way back towards the body, and building up, continuing that tapered body piece from the wing all the way back to the tail. Once you get those finished final loops there, put some tying knots right, again, right behind that eye, and grab your whip finisher, and you're gonna put 4 or 5 finishing knots on the head of this fly. Snip off the thread, and once that front part is finished, we're going to trim the wing, give it a little bit of haircut. So right below that final junction knot at the top, you're going to snip it and allow that to splay out, and then you can take your fingers and begin to work it out. So it really forms about a 180-degree form piece there, and then here you have the pale morning done. Hope you enjoyed this one. See you on the next one.